Hey everybody, it's Tristan here with the Living Learning Communities Office, and I am here with Dr. Andrew Albritton. So, Andrew, first question is, who are you? What do you do?
Who are you? That's deep. I yeah, I am, as you said, I'm Andrew Albritton, and I am an instructor here at Missouri State. And I teach in the business college, and I teach our communication classes in the business college. So there's a basic business communication course that sophomores take. There is a business report writing course that I teach, and then there's also an MBA class called organizational communication that I teach. So my training is in the area of communication. Got an MA in communication from here at Missouri State, as a matter of fact. Got a PhD in linguistics from the University of Nottingham, which is over in the UK. But I'm very happy to have wound up in a business college. That wasn't the plan, but it worked out that way, and I'm happy to be here teaching communication skills to business students.
Yeah, I'm glad you kind of brought that up because I saw that you have kind of quite an interesting journey of economic geography, which what is that? And
Sure.
then, master's in communication and then English applied linguistics. It seems like a jump.
Yeah. So whenever I was in university here at Missouri State as an undergrad, I just liked a lot of things that I was studying. And I really liked all of the social sciences. And I was enjoying history, and I was enjoying geography, and I was enjoying economics, and just all these things that kind of answered the question of why the world works the way it does. You have to look at historical things, and you have to look at the geography, and you have to look at the economics and decision making. And so I ended up just doing an individualized major because I was just enjoying all these different things and learning about kind of how society worked. And then what really kind of captured my attention, though, as I was finishing up my undergrad, was about just how we communicate all of this information. That's really what got me. And so after doing an internship for 9 months, I decided I wanted to study communication specifically. And so came back and studied communication for an MA. And then after that, I kind of focused in a little bit more. Communication is a huge, broad discipline. You can study many different things under the umbrella of communication, but I kind of focused in on the linguistic side, philosophy of communication, rhetoric, things like that. And so that's kind of what then propelled me into linguistics. So it's really kind of a start of looking very broadly at kind of how the world works. And then I became very interested in communication. And then I got even more interested in language and the philosophy of language and things like that. And so that's the kind of basic journey that I went on educationally.
Yeah. That's like incredibly interesting, and I think you're a good example of kind of like follow your passion, like that kind
Yep.
of thing, or like building your own like journey and stuff like that. And so my next question is kind of like, if I were to get to know you, what's something I would need to know about you?
There's a couple things that come to mind. One is that I've actually spent much of my life on the Missouri State campus. So I always tell people, don't hold it against me. But I went to Greenwood, the elementary school, junior high, and high school here. And so I started as a kindergartner at Greenwood and went through, and then I got a scholarship. I was looking at other universities, but I got a scholarship at Missouri State, and I'd done dual credit at Missouri State as a Greenwood student. I really liked it. Like, I loved going to classes at Missouri State. I was like, why mess with a good thing? So I went to Missouri State for my undergrad and my master's, and then of course had to leave for a PhD. But then the job offer was there to be a staff member while I was working on my PhD. So I came back while I was writing my dissertation and was a staff member here. And so actually, here's the thing. I've been an elementary school student, junior high student, high school student, college student, graduate student, part-time staff member, student worker, GA, and full-time faculty member at Missouri State. I've held all of those roles at Missouri State, and I still love the place. I still enjoy Missouri State and like it a lot. So that would be one thing that I would say about me, is I am like a true maroon bear, through and through most of my life, and I'm still loving it. And the other thing is, outside, kind of extracurricularly, outside, I do creative writing in addition to like academic writing stuff, and so I like to do creative writing. I'm also a teacher at my church and do some stuff there as well. So those are some things about me that I think you would want to know if you're getting to know me.
And I know maybe this is just a rumor, but I think
Okay.
you really like Epcot.
Yeah, big fan of Epcot Center at Disney World. Yeah, that's right. My wife and we are Disney fans. We're those people. You know what I'm saying? Like we're the millennials, at Disney World that people complain about, and we don't care. But we were going a couple of times. I guess it would have been last year. And so we knew we were going a couple of times, so we got season passes. Well, then every time we could get like a cheap flight or we could get down there cheaply, we would go and we would get a cheap hotel room. And so we went to Disney all these times. And yeah, I am the nerd who loves Epcot Center. I'm a big fan of Epcot at Disney World. It's just
You get to have
nerdy joy.
one meal at Epcot. Where do you go?
Dude,
it's tough.
That's a good question, man. You're good at this. I have to compliment you. That is awesome. Okay, one meal. I love two places. Okay, but if it's only one meal, and this place is expensive, so normally my wife and I are on a budget at Disney World. Okay, so we're not rolling too large there. Don't want to get that impression here. But I mean, if there's no budget, certainly you go to San Angel, the Mexican restaurant in Mexico at Epcot, but it's pretty expensive. And so if you're a little bit more on a budget, then you go over to this restaurant called Seasons, which is at the Land, where they actually farm within this big kind of greenhouse that they have there, and then they serve the foods there that they farm. And so those are the two, depending on your budget, I would go to.
A pretty good one. I think outside of Epcot, I'd pick the restaurant inside Pirates of the Caribbean, but
dude, yeah, that's a good one. I like it a lot. Absolutely.
So when you were here, right, what's the course that you struggled with?
That's a really good question. And, there were two courses that kind of threw me. Well, there were really three courses that threw me. One I got through okay, ended up with a B in. And then one was college out. So the one that kind of was just tough, but it all played out okay, was money and banking. And then because it's mathematical and it's related to multiple different levels of decision making and how those different decisions kind of resonate through an economy. And so that was a pretty tough one. College algebra was tough. It's a tough one for many people. I didn't do that one dual credit or anything, so I took it here just as a college student. And I struggled with it, but I did okay there. And then there was another class, and it's the only real class where I feel like, I did okay grade-wise in it, but I just didn't quite ever grasp it, and that was macroeconomics.
I guess what kind of advice would you give to a student who's kind of in that situation right now where they're like, this class is a little difficult. I'm moving into the second half of the semester.
Right.
I'm kind of make up for it.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, I must only give the boring answer to this question, which is commit the time.
Yeah.
It's really just an issue of time. You have to say, okay, you have to look at your life and you have to say, okay, something's going to happen. If you're struggling in a class and you don't think you're putting enough time into it, you just literally have to look at your life and say, okay, what's going to go for the next couple months? What's going to have to go away? What TV show am I not going to watch for 2 months and catch up later? What hobby am I going to give up for a little while? And I'm going to devote that time to either being tutored or to just engaging with the textbook more and studying more, and do both. If you need a tutor, there's no shame in that, for goodness sake. Most of us do need help tutoring in some kind of fashion in difficult courses that we have. And so, don't feel ashamed and go find somebody who can tutor you. We have many different tutoring resources on campus for many different disciplines, of course. And so, but it is the boring answer. You just got to put in the time, and to put in the time, oftentimes that means you have to look at your schedule and you have to think, okay, what's got to go? And it's usually going to be fun stuff that has to go, so that you can just get through these next couple of months. But then, hey, then you've got December and you can catch up on your TV or your music or whatever it is, that you like and you have to give up. But that was the advice that was given to me whenever I started my PhD program. It was when I started my master's. They just said, listen, if you're going to be working and going to school, which I was, and I was married, when I was getting my master's. And so there's just a lot. I mean, I have a wife and had a job and had a master's degree. And the advice that was given was, listen, to be doing all this stuff, you're probably going to have to give up some things that you like, And so for me, I was like, okay, I'm going to cut out video games and I'm going to cut out music stuff, basically, that I was doing. And it wasn't fun to do that because those are things that I enjoy, but it just had to be done in order to get to where I, wanted to be. And then of course you eventually get through those things and you're back and, now I'm back playing piano again, and I'm back playing, Luigi's Mansion 3 last night. And so it's all okay. But you got to kind of have a period of time where you look at your schedule and say, okay, I'm not going to be able to have as much fun right now. I've just got to put in the time and the effort with this. And you'll be rewarded for it in the end.
What are some of those concrete examples that you think, kind of work for students?
Another terrific question, truly. So I mean, obviously, and everyone says this, I know, but go to see the professor. The vast majority of us, the vast majority, not everybody, let's be real. I mean, there's a lot of professors here, right?
Yeah.
But the vast majority of us want to talk to students, and we want to have these meetings. We can do it via Zoom, very easily these days. And we generally are working with student schedules, and it's pretty easy to get a hold of us. We try and keep our schedules free for students, and we want to engage with students, and we're nice usually. Okay. And so, it's just one of those things where meeting with the professor is the best thing to do as a step one. I mean, if you haven't met with a professor yet to talk about your concerns, that's where you need to go first. Absolutely. Now, again, we got to be real here. There are going to be professors occasionally that'll blow you off or maybe don't want to talk to you that much and things like that. And that's not good. They shouldn't be that way, but it's out there. Okay. And if that's the situation, well, then you're going to have to do other things, right? And so that may look like tutoring. It may look like just studying harder. It may look like talking with other students in the class, or talking with students who've taken that class in the past, talking to people who are in your major who've had that experience, and talk with them about how they got through it. But yeah, absolutely meet with the professor as step one. Step two, do look if there are tutoring resources for certain classes. In the business college, for example, we have tutoring. We have a tutoring lab for students to help them as they struggle with certain classes related to, the higher level math and things like that. And so look into tutoring. And then, there's different studying techniques that help different people. Everyone learns differently. It's become a cliche to say that, but it's true. I mean, people do learn differently. Some people learn, and this is me, I just need to sit down with the book. You know what I mean? I just need to sit down with the book and the notes, and I just need to read it a few times and think about it a little bit and just kind of sit there with it and then move on. And that's how I do it. Other people need to do different things. It may mean making flashcards. It may mean working through, problems or things in the back of the book and doing that extra work. That can help as well. But again, you've got to figure out how you learn. And so if you've never quite figured that out yet as a student, I'm not talking to you, Tristan, I'm talking to the hypothetical audience out there, who will watch this. You've got to kind of figure out how you learn. And if you don't know the answer to that yet, well, it's time to start figuring it out. I mean, it's time to start that experimentation and start seeing the best way that you learn. Try making flashcards. Try, reading your notes out loud to yourself and recording yourself and listening to it, for example. All kinds of different things. And you can just Google this and find out different, learning methods and start figuring out what works for you.
What advice do you have for students as they register and get ready for next semester?
Do have a meeting with your advisor. I mean, generally you're required to do so. So have that meeting with your advisor and be, thinking about the future. Don't feel too much pressure. This is one of these things where, college students, they feel so much pressure for a major all the time. And, if you're a freshman right now, you need to be, out there kind of taking different classes and kind of seeing what you like and talking to different people in different professions and talking to different professors about what a future may look like in the career that you're looking at, and just kind of still exploring things. And so I encourage that. I encourage to really be exploring with your classes and things right now. And so talk to that with your advisor and take, my recommendation, take a class or two in that elective group that you are not interested in. It's a weird piece of advice, but it's something that I think can help you. If you'll get out there and actually do something that and what may happen is you find that you are interested in it.
Yeah.
There's all these stories about people who take a college class, right? And they take a class that is just fit with their schedule. It's an elective. They have no interest in it. And, but they take the class because they need an elective. It fit with the schedule. They get in there and it changes their life. This is now their passion. You know what I'm saying? You hear these stories. And so you want to kind of branch out and experience different types of classes and different types of experiences while you're at the university. And so don't just keep yourself within a really small bubble academically. That's one piece of advice that
Awesome.
I have.
And in closing, let's say someone sees this video and they're like, I like that guy. He seems very personable. You know what? He might be someone I might want to talk to during their office years. How could someone, where could somebody find you?
So very easy. It's my name, Andrew Albritton at MissouriState.edu. And so this semester, I'm basically keeping my afternoons free for meeting with students. And so I keep every afternoon free for just doing stuff like this and chatting with students and things like that. And so they're asking in the College of Business anyway, they're asking in general that we do Zoom meetings for meeting with students, or that we meet in a classroom that's free during that time, just so you know. But I'm very happy to meet with you in person in a classroom, just letting you know that's a stipulation that's been put on us right now. And so, but yeah, I keep my afternoons open just for appointments. So literally 5 days a week, or if it's Zoom, even on the weekend, I keep my afternoons free for meeting with students on the weekends as well. So I try and be as available as possible for folks. So just shoot me an email if you want to talk. If you want to talk through this career stuff, if maybe you're thinking about academics, if you're looking at the College of Business, and any of these things, shoot me an email and let's set up an appointment, and I'd be happy to chat with you.